And then Blake and Ryan arranges another meeting. And she also told Justin that you cannot cry anymore. Then it says here that Colleen calls Brandon Sklenar and tells him about this dinner.
Yeah, we've lost some talk.
Hi and welcome to Blossom Talk. I'm Kjersti Flor, journalist, Hollywood truth teller, and your voice of reason in a town built on delusion. So happy Black Friday, everyone. And I hope you had a good Thanksgiving if you celebrated that, if you're here in the US. And if not, I hope you had a good Thursday. I know a few people didn't have a good Thanksgiving, and one of them being Taylor Swift. Because if you watched my episode yesterday, you know that we now know that Taylor Swift has lied. She said that she only met Justin Baldoni one time, and that is not true, because now we know that she was at 2 meetings with Justin, and today the headlines are everywhere that Taylor Swift and Hugh Jackman were present when Ryan Reynolds was yelling at Justin Baldoni for 5 to 6 hours in their penthouse, claiming that Justin Baldoni had fat-shamed his wife. If you missed my episode yesterday, I just wanted to mention that the judge has ruled that a lot of new evidence is going to be unsealed next week. So on December 3rd, that's the big day, a lot of evidence is going to be unsealed, and we're going to look inside what really happened behind the scenes, especially what went on in Blake's camp. There's also an audio recording that should be very interesting. And as I said yesterday, the reason why the judge wants all of this new evidence to be unsealed is because he believes that we have the right to know what really went on. He wants transparency here. And the reason for that is because there is a lot of stuff hiding in that evidence. And I believe all of that evidence is going to benefit Justin Baldoni. So stay tuned, next week is going to be massive. And of course, we can expect also a lot of news stories coming out from Blake and Ryan's team about how amazing they are as parents and how in love they are as a couple, and really how relatable they are when they go to Trader Joe's to do their Thanksgiving shopping. Also, we have to talk about more from Justin Baldoni's deposition. It has now been unsealed, and this is truly heartbreaking. This proves that Justin could not even trust his own team. We'll go through some of that, and also I wanted to go through more of that timeline that was unsealed yesterday, where amongst other things, we got to learn that Taylor and Hugh Jackman was present at that meeting at their penthouse when Ryan was yelling at Justin. There's a lot more in this timeline, and I'm going to try to go through the most important things in this episode, so please stay tuned to the end. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about this episode that's been everywhere in the press today. Everyone picked it up that Taylor and Hugh Jackman were present at the penthouse. What does this really mean? Well, for once, it means that Taylor Swift wasn't telling the truth from the beginning here, because she said in a statement through her reps that she only met Justin once and she had nothing to do with the movie. And obviously, if she was there during this whole meeting, which lasted for 5 to 6 hours, she's much more involved than she initiated. And of course, this also puts Hugh Jackman on the spot, which is not great for him, especially now because he has a movie out called Sing Song Blue, and he's really hoping to get some award buzz around that movie. It is actually a really good movie. I watched it. He's great in it. So this is really bad for him as well. And I wonder, what did the two of them actually do there? Did they know beforehand that this meeting was going to take place, or were they just there by chance? I don't actually think so. I don't feel it's random when Taylor Swift just stops by, or Hugh Jackman, and then they're just like, oh, by the way, we have a meeting with Justin Baldoni, and Jamie Heath is going to be here, and a rep from Sony is going to be here, and producers are going to be here. So there were like 7, 8, 9 people in that room when this happened. Keep that in mind. And we know that the producer, Todd Black, was witnessing this. And he wanted to leave the movie after this incident. He said, I don't want to go back to that set. I don't want to work with that movie. And allegedly, he was offered 3 times as much by Sony to return to work. I don't have that confirmed, but that's what I've heard. And I also find it interesting, keeping in mind that this happened even before production started. So Blake claims that Justin thinks she's fat. And then at the same time, she claims that he was objectifying her on the set of It Ends With Us, calling her outfit sexy. It doesn't really hold up. The logic here doesn't make any sense. And in the middle of this PR drama, Blake posted a story to her Instagram promoting her hair care line, Blake Brown. And what was she wearing? Just a tiny towel. That's a lot less than she was actually wearing in that birth scene that she was so upset about. And I'm guessing that's probably what she wore when Jamie Heath entered her trailer. Yeah, isn't it kind of ironic how she is so comfortable in front of a camera, showing the entire world what she looks like in just a tiny little towel when she had so many issues with similar things on the set of It Ends With Us and behind the scenes of It Ends With Us. As I said yesterday, I wonder why Justin kept this information from us, that Taylor Swift and Hugh Jackman was there. Maybe he was protecting them somehow. I don't know. Maybe he hoped that Taylor would support him, because it did seem like that for a while, and that's why he kept this secret. I don't know. And I also find it interesting why this was unsealed right before Thanksgiving, because as you know, people don't really pay that much attention to the news during the holidays, because then they know that it wouldn't have gotten that much attention as it would have if they had released this on Monday, for example. So I don't know the thought behind it. I just find it a little weird. Also, as I said, more of Justin Baldoni's deposition has been unsealed. And this is where the lawyers are grilling him about Melissa Nathan. So they want him to basically admit that he know that she was shady before he hired her. And there's pages up and down about how he should have known that she had done dirty work before. And also they're trying to make it look like Stephanie Jones was warning him about Melissa Nathan. Anyways, going back a little in this deposition that was unsealed, the attorney asks Justin this: have you seen any documents or text messages in this case or otherwise where Stephanie Jones is talking shit about you the way that Jen Abel was? First of all, the language, this is a direct quote. This is the language that the attorney used in this question. And we know there was a text message released where Jennifer Abel said that Justin is kind of full of himself. I think that happened in the beginning of this lawsuit, that was released, which didn't make her look good. But the way they're asking here and putting Jennifer Abel on the spot, saying, you know, you couldn't even trust your own publicist, they're trying to take away the credibility of his entire team here. Of course, they're trying to pit all these parties against each other here so that would create chaos, and then their story will fall apart. But they're not really successful in doing that. But what this says is that Justin Baldoni maybe couldn't really trust his team. And as I've spoken about Melissa Nathan lately, that she's been accused of doing shady things before, this thing here that I'm getting to now doesn't really put her in a better light. So the attorney asked Justin, are you aware that after Wayfair onboard Tag as its crisis publicist, Katie Case and Melissa Nathan were joking about whether your faith was a cult? I was not aware, says Justin. What do you think about that? Says the attorney. Well, I think anytime somebody makes a religious joke, I think that's not okay. It seems to have happened a lot in this case. Then the attorney is showing Justin the exhibit here that they were talking behind his back. And he says, it's a text thread between Katie Case and Melissa Nathan from August 4th, 2024. Have you seen this before? Justin says, I have not. Were you aware that Katie Case and Melissa Nathan were texting things like this about you while they were on a call with you? I was not, says Justin. As I said, I find this to be so heartbreaking because this really shows that he couldn't trust what they were doing behind his back. But then again, I kind of think this helps Justin, because if something happened, he doesn't need to take responsibility for that, because now we know that they were talking behind his back, and who knows what they were up to behind his back. All we know and all we care about here is what Justin Baldoni and the Wayfarer Studios did and did not do. And we know for sure that they were not a part of any alleged smear campaign. But this kind of stuff, doesn't really help Melissa Nathan or Kitty Case for that matter. Okay, so let's get into this timeline now. There's so much juicy new stuff here that I really want to talk about. But before we get into that, I wanted to thank the two sponsors of this video, Aura Frame and Cash App. I just love giving people creative gifts with a little thought behind it. What if you could give a gift that brings your favorite holidays, traditions, or memories to life every single day? What if you could give the gift of memories? Isn't that the most beautiful idea ever? Being away from home and being away from my family and friends makes it even more important for me to show how much I care. And because it's the holidays, this is also the perfect time to start new traditions. Maybe you want to document this year's celebration or curate a little highlights reel of your favorite moments together. Aura makes it effortless, and every frame comes in a beautiful premium gift box. This is all you have to do. Just download the Aura app, connect to Wi-Fi, and you can add unlimited photos and videos straight from your phone anywhere at any time. And this is the really cool part. You can preload the frame before they actually ship it. So when they open your gift, the memories are already there waiting for them. Isn't that just the sweetest gift ever? You can't wrap togetherness, but you can frame it. For a limited time, visit auraframes.com and get $45 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using promo code Kjersti, my name, at checkout. That's AURA frames.com, promo code Kjersti, KJERSTI. This exclusive Black Friday and Cyber Monday deal is their best of the year. So order now before it ends. Support my show by mentioning me at checkout. Also, a big thank you to Cash App for sponsoring this video. I love the holiday seasons, but it's also a time of year we have to be extra cautious. The holiday seasons is all about finding the perfect gift, but this time of year, not every deal is actually what it seems. Scammers are getting more creative to trick people into sharing their payment info through methods like fake shopping sites and giveaways that are too good to be true. Luckily, Cash App's 24/7 fraud monitoring helps and alert you for unusual card activity should someone gain access to your card. That means you can act fast if something seems off. You can also lock and unlock your Cash App card instantly right in the app for extra control and peace of mind. Stay one step ahead of scams this season and keep your money secure with Cash App. For a limited time only, new Cash App customers can use my exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real, just download the Cash App and use my exclusive referral code SECURE10 in your profile. Send $5 to a friend within 14 days and you'll get $10 dropped into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial service platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's banks partners. Prepaid debit card issues by Sutton Bank. Member FDIC. Promotions provided by Cash App, a Black Ink brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosure. Okay, so let's get back into this timeline that I started speaking about yesterday. This is basically a timeline of events, of everything that happened throughout the production and before the production started of It Ends With Us and until after the premiere of the movie. And this is put together by Baldoni's team. I think maybe Jamie Heath put it together to explain to Melissa Nathan, the crisis manager, when they hired her, of what had occurred up till this point. And as I said yesterday, which was quite shocking to me, that whole incident in Blake and Ryan's penthouse actually happened before they started shooting the movie. So let's get back into the pre-production here. What happens after Justin was berated by Ryan Reynolds for 5 hours because he was fat-shaming his wife. So already on May 1st, this is also before they start shooting, Alex, one of the producers, sent a text message saying that she's fixing the script. She's now directing the movie. This is bad. So already at this point, before they started shooting, Blake took over basically the directing of the movie. Then it continues here on May 7th that Blake informed production that her baby is ill and she would not be able to travel to Las Vegas. I find this really suspicious. First of all, you have 4 children. One of them is always going to be ill. She just had a baby, so I do understand that she wants to be around her baby, but she can jump on her private jet and bring the baby and bring as many nannies as she pleases to start shooting the movie she signed up for. So this ended in over a week delay of the production, which of course cost the Wayfair parties and Sony and everyone involved a lot of money. And also it's a note here saying that interesting that Blake was seen at Taylor Swift's concert on the 13th of May. So 6 days later, Blake was at this concert. So I don't know, do we believe that her baby was sick? Maybe, but could she still have gone to Vegas? Of course she could. So that shoot was canceled, obviously. And then on 11th of May, Justin recorded a rehearsal with Jenny Slate. And apparently Jenny said that that was not comfortable. It doesn't say anything more about that. But then on the first day of shooting, on 15th of May, some paparazzi photos are hitting the press with Blake Lively's outfits, and people are going bananas over how incredibly ugly they are. And here it says that this sent Sony, producers, and Justin into a frenzy because they'd long felt that the wardrobe choices Blake was making were not in the best interest of the movie. There was a lot of chatter about how to get Blake Lively to compromise on wardrobe. As you know, she didn't. And every outfit that we saw in that movie was basically hideous. And as I said before, I think the reason why she wanted to pick her own wardrobe is because she wanted to hide her baby weight. She hadn't lost her baby weight yet. And as you know, she was so upset about him asking about her weight. So this was really something that bothered her. And that's also the reason why she wore all this layer on top of another layer clothing in the movie. Then they're quoting Taylor Swift again here because Blake Lively apparently said she was defending her wardrobe choices, and she had said allegedly to Justin that Taylor had told her that the fans don't know what they want until you give it to them. I think that's kind of disrespectful for your fans to say something like that. You don't know what you want until I give it to you. And because you're just my fans, you're not critical of anything I do, you don't even know what you want. And this is what Blake is saying here, that defending her wardrobe choices, saying that, but they don't know what they want yet. Just wait. They're going to love my costumes because they love me. Also the same day, this happened on May 16, it says here that Blake gave Justin a compliment on this day, and Justin teared up while he was hearing that. This would later be weaponized against him, as Blake would insist that Justin Baldoni was in her trailer sobbing about how she looks old. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's so crazy to me. This is what fame does to people when your ego gets too big. And the examples that we see here of how things have been twisted around, no matter what he would have said in any of these situations, it would have been weaponized and used against him. It's just like no way out. He couldn't have done anything differently. And also here it says on the 18th of May, this is the day that Justin would have said sexy to Jenny. That was when she was wearing those black pants that we spoke about before. And we know, of course, why they mentioned that, because Jenny Slate made a huge deal about how that made her feel so uncomfortable. Also here, as I said yesterday, Blake asked all the crew members to wear a badge with their name and their photo on it, which is not normal on a movie set, but she said that everyone had to do that, and the Wayfair party, of course, had to just, accommodate her. Then, interestingly enough, this is when they shot that Boston bar karaoke scene And it says here at the end of that day, Justin sends a text to Blake saying, I'm not going to tell you that you were amazing because you teased me for being sentimental, but you were amazing today. I can't believe that he could send text messages like that. After all the things that she had done to him at this point, he is just keeping his cool, being so professional here and just feeding into her ego to make her happy. And then she responded to him, thank you. I do appreciate it. I'm just a ball buster, but it means a lot to me. I care a great deal and always want to deliver. You are terrific. I am proud of everything we did today, but really every day. Which doesn't make any sense to me why she would send him that after all the things that they've been through already. To me, this seems like a person who has some serious mental issues. If you can switch on and off like this, and then the next day, Blake and Jenny Slate allegedly called Angie, another one of the producers, and complained about the sexy comment that Justin made about Jenny's pants, and also the birth video that Blake had been shown. Then Blake gets COVID, and on the 31st of May, a few days later, Justin sends a text through Alex Sachs, another one of the producers, to apologize to Jenny Slate and Blake. And then when she returns to set after COVID on June 1st, she invited everyone into her trailer, Alex Sachs, the producer, Justin, and Jamie, to discuss the complaints she had about them, meaning the birthing scene and the sexy comment. And she also told Justin that you cannot cry anymore. And then she told Jamie Heath that he had looked at her in the trailer and he was not allowed to do that, to have eye contact with her. And also she mentions that Jamie Heath had asked her sister Robin for a hug. And that was super inappropriate. 2 days later, Blake invites Justin into her trailer while she's pumping. Then Justin and Blake potentially met to make script changes on June 2nd. It's so interesting to me that she keeps inviting him into her trailer and also into her apartment. If she felt so threatened by him because he was SHing her, and then she invites him into her personal space all the time. That is not a very normal reaction if you are scared of someone or if you feel that someone is not treating you well. I would never invite someone to my place, to my home, if I felt that way. And then there is the strike, the shutdown. So then they stop working on June 14th of 2023. And then Blake just flies to London and refuses to return to work. Oh my God. At this point, if I were them, I would just be like, screw it. You're not going to be in our movie. I mean, now looking back, I'm sure they regret not making that choice, but this is so insane to me. One of her reps told them that they could just sue her to return to work, but she would not be happy about it. I mean, then they resume production without Blake and they shoot all the scenes with young Lily and the young cast. And then Blake still doesn't want to return to set. And then they sent these 17 points and saying you have to sign this for her to return to set. And then Blake and Ryan arranges another meeting at their house with Blake, Ryan, Justin, Jamie Heath, Angie, Alex, and Todd, all the producers, where Blake and Ryan express their feelings. Then on the 7th of January, Blake sends scripts revisions day before shooting. This is something that she kept doing, that she sent revisions of the script the day before. And for everyone involved in the movie, having to change things up less than 24 hours before shooting, that's a freaking nightmare. And then again on February 5th, she's sending new production revisions. And now she's not even asking Justin for any input. She just takes over everything. And then Justin is pushed to allow her into the editing room with her. And the first day, she doesn't even show up. So she only shows up one day with Justin, Una, and Rob, who were the editor at the time when this happened. And she did not show up for any days thereafter, it says here. Then it's all this stuff about Taylor Swift, that Blake wouldn't approve the trailer with Taylor Swift's song. unless they choose her version of the movie. As we know, she put a lot of pressure on Sony as well here to show her cut of the movie, even though we know that Justin cut did score better in tests. Then on May 3rd, Alex, one of the producers, shares concern with Jamie that Blake will want directing credits. I haven't heard that before. She also wanted directing credit. Then she launches this influencer event with Sony, and at the same time, Justin has a dinner with Colleen Hoover and Jamie Heath and Colleen's friend Terry. He tells Colleen Hoover at this point what's going on behind the scenes because she wasn't informed at this point. And it says here that Colleen and her friend Terry are empathetic to the situation. Then it says here that Colleen calls Brandon Sklenar and tells him about this dinner that they just had. And it says here we later hear from Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds that this dinner made her uncomfortable. So first, Colleen pretends that she's empathetic to the situation when Justin Baldoni tells his version of events. And then afterwards, she complained to Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively about it and said that it made her feel really uncomfortable. Then Blake arranges a friends and family screening on May 24th with Todd Black, the producer who wanted to leave after that meeting at Ryan and Blake's penthouse, and Colleen Hoover, Bradley Cooper, Ryan, Sean Levy, and Gigi Hadid present. And it says here that we didn't find out that Colleen Hoover would be there until Todd Black told Jamie. This was a surprise as Colleen had no relationship with Blake until this point. So this was May 2024, and they didn't really have a relationship until that point. Then that same day, Blake told Josh that she would not do any press with Justin Baldoni. Then there's another test screening here for Justin's version of the movie, and they say here that they were informed by Josh G that Colleen Hoover is working with Blake Lively. He also said Blake informed him that Colleen won't promote the movie either unless we use Blake's cut, which she was involved with in giving notes and feedback. So at this point, Colleen had completely jumped over to Blake Lively's side, and she was working with Blake on her edits. Then on June 3rd, Blake fires the two editors that Justin Baldoni had hired. Una and Rob were let go and replaced by Blake's editor, Shane Reed. And it says here, Una cried and was angry about this decision. Of course. 3 days later, on June 6th, Blake also fires the composer, Brian Taylor, and she swaps him out with the two new composers, Rob and Duncan. Then on June 13th is the Book Bonanza event in Texas. And I spoke about this shortly yesterday, where Blake brought Brendan Sklenar, Isabella Ferrer, Alex Sachs, the producer, and Colleen Hoover to this event. And it says here that no one knew about this. Sony wasn't informed. No one was informed. And we know she also brought this version of the movie that had not been vetted yet and not been approved by anyone. So this in itself is outrageous. And it says here that she also paid personally for Isabella Ferrer and Brendan Sklenar to come and join her. So this is when she started having power over those two people as well. And this is also when Todd Black was informed that none of the cast members would do any press with Justin. Then on June 20th, this is insane. So then she keeps pushing. So on June 20th, Blake reached out to request that she be named producer on the film. And Wayfarer said, okay. Then she wants them to write a letter to PGA, Producers Guild of America, because she wants the stamp from them that she is officially a producer of the movie. And they don't want to write that letter for her. I mean, can you blame them? And of course, then she keeps pressuring them. And then it says here that Blake had said, any goodwill I had left for Justin is now gone. And it says here that Jamie tried to reach out to Blake and ask her, her feelings about this PGA letter. And Blake refused to get on that call. And then at the end, they ended up just writing this letter for her. But the Wayfarer pointed out in an internal email that they only did this because of extortion by Blake. Then there's some stuff about this coffee table book. There's a lot of drama around then. But then we get to Ryan Reynolds and his phone calls to WME. It says here that Ryan reached out to Patrick to tell him their side of the story. Then he calls Danny Greenberg, or he speaks to Granny Greenberg. And in that conversation, he calls Justin a deranged predator. He also says that they want to put this fiasco behind them and don't want anything to do with Justin after August 9th. Ryan mentions that no one from the cast and Colin Hoover want him at the premiere. He asks Danny Greenberg why he is coming. And then Josh calls Jamie Heath to say that Blake Lively is threatening not to show up at the premiere. And then at the end, they agree that Justin can show up at the red carpet before everyone else, but he had to leave as soon as anyone else entered the red carpet, and he's not allowed in the theater. And as you know, he was sent to the basement and all that stuff. Anyways, that's some of the stuff that we have learned from this timeline, you guys. And as I said, a lot of more stuff is coming out next week, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be pretty explosive. And I also wanted to mention before I go, this website that you can go to if you're confused about things. This website is amazing. It's called docketupdates.com, and you can go in there and you can read about all the players. They're publishing all the documents from the docket up there, so you can go in and read them yourself. This website is really amazing. They're doing such a good job. And if you want to support them, you can also buy them a coffee, which I just did because I feel like what they're doing here is so amazing and they're not making any money on doing that. And it really gives you a great overview of what this case is all about. So please check that out. If you have the chance, I will leave a link in my description as well for that website. Anyways, I hope you're going to have a wonderful weekend, and thanks again for watching. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode of Floss and Talk, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah, we floss and talk.